Welcome to the very first, we'll call it the inaugural Think Tank Thursday that Agent Success Rally is doing. This is not a place where Jeremy Fay, broker and instructor, is going to stand here or sit here rather on on a virtual lectern, so to speak, and talk at or preach at anybody. This is designed to have a mastermind feel and approach, to be a conversation where an exchange of ideas can occur. Somebody in this room is doing something better than me. And if you are willing to share that, I am willing to steal that. I believe in R&D, rip off and duplicate. Okay. So uh, half of what I have built as a real estate professional, I have stolen proudly, and I will say that. I will also say this: if you ever hear me say anything, don't ask me if you can use it. Just take it and run with it. Rip my name off of it, rip my branding off of it, and put your own on it. Call it your own. And enjoy, hopefully, a certain level of success that comes from that. The one that I feel is quite consequential is probably going to be SB 140.
Now with these rules, like we have to take in consideration, as we're giving them that opt-in, hey, is it okay for me to um, keep in touch with you, whatever your cadence is?
It's going to take us, making some tweaks and some changes. It would be wise to have a review of your procedures to include even the simple things like an open house sign in. The language is going to be very important there. I'm not going to tell you what language to use because I'm not an attorney and I'm not your broker of record, but I will encourage you to review your procedures, have a conversation with your broker, and find out what you need to do to make sure you're in compliance. So we have to be really careful because that's the climate, right? That's the vibe. That's how people are feeling. And, government is doing what government is supposed to do. They're responding to their people and what their people want. And they've written some very broad interpretation of this law and expanded the powers. And so we have to be really careful.
And just to offer like a different perspective on it from the consumer side, my grandma passed, and so my mom was the executor of estate for her house. And I remember going home to visit, and my mom answered the phone, and she just like lost it. Don't call me again, like real nasty. But she said she was getting harassed by realtors trying to get my grandmother's house. And so, just to offer a different perspective, sometimes that human being on the other side of the phone, you don't really know their situation, and you don't know if you're the only person with their number. And so I view this as a great opportunity to be really human with the business because of the way I've tried to build my business just on pure relationship, and treating human beings like human beings. I don't forget the way that those calls were making my mom feel after she had to bury her mother.
Do you mind sharing with us what is it about 1L that people want to tell all their friends, family, and enemies about what you've done for them?
I do a little bit more. I do a little bit more than what a lot of agents or from what they've experienced. I just do a little bit more. Just small acts of kindness really is all. I can't say I'm doing much more than just being kind.
I'm wondering if we might be able to sum all that up by saying that the small things are the big things. That's what you're providing them are those thousands of tiny things that really begin to resonate with people.
Small things, that other people wouldn't have necessarily done for that person. And then, everybody that meet me, we're friends after that. Actually also been working for me, and I think that we got away from it. We're always talking about and not saying that it's not good, like social media or being online or anything. People are still people, right? I started walking my son to school every day. People are still just people. Like random people just walk asking me random questions. Like, oh, what about this or what about that? And so that has done a lot better than I anticipated. And the walk is only 10 minutes.
Has anybody had a deal just completely go south and fall apart, and that maybe has a huge takeaway? Like anybody get a lump on the head that they're not going to forget this last month?
I had a deal that literally fell apart a week before closing. So they were like, she's not going to qualify for the loan. We need to get her out of the loan. I had to revamp like how I explain my contract and let people know Like, hey, after this point, this can happen. This point, this can happen.
It sounds like
So
one of like kind of your biggest takeaways from that is just the uh, communication throughout the contract and the escrow period to kind of break down those benchmarks.
We're flashing all these terms and, oh, this, that, escrow, you're going to pay this, you're going to pay that. And they're all like, what?
And we have very industry specific jargon that we throw out there without thought because we're speaking to other industry insiders. The other day, somebody called me on it because I didn't think about it. I just kind of said, oh, yeah, your PITI is going to be this. And they were like, what alphabet soup did you just give me? And I was like, I am so sorry. And I really had to kind of check myself. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about what is a mortgage. A mortgage consists broadly of two parts. You have your principal and interest on your loan, and you have your taxes and insurance. This is called your escrow. And now I'm going into teacher mode. They've never done this before. First time you rode a bike, first time you did anything, you did not do it well. You didn't know what you were doing. And so you need somebody to walk you through it.
Going back to your social media question earlier about, could it be like a funnel and how the funnel works on social media? One of the things that I hear a lot of people talk about is setting like a relocation guide, a buyer's guide, a more kind of top questions that I'm hearing lately guide where they can scan, they can add themselves into the subscription. They're opting in, you're following up, it integrates into your flow,
Brittany's
but
writing
something
this down
like
over there.
always get people back to you. How do you get people back to your space, your Instagram, your Facebook, whatever you feel like is your world? Bring people to that. Because as you start doing that and just doing it over and over and over, they're going to say, I see you everywhere. I,
Hmm.
I see you on my Instagram. I see you on my Facebook. Your YouTube is popping up. And then for them, the perception is you truly are everywhere.
I teach a class on geofarming. And the way that I teach geofarming is to have kind of like a layered approach. It's a much smaller geographical space, but you're looking for deeper market penetration and saturation. You have all of these different layers stacked on top of each other, and that way everybody in that target area, they see you everywhere. And if you do it the right way, you can create where it's almost, circular.
And
Great.
then if you mix it with some of that relationship that Brittany and Wanell was saying, right? That relationship, as you're walking, they're gonna see, "Oh, that's that lady.
Yeah,
That's that lady
yeah.
that was on my
You're like
Instagram,
a
right?
celebrity,
And you're
right?
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that was
nice.
me.
I'm interested in knowing with the rate cuts that I mean everybody the lenders saw this coming, so they've already kind of adjusted their rates downward. Is anybody seeing any changes from this? And if so, what are they?
I think people are still scared, and then they're like, oh, well, rates are going down. So then they're thinking, oh, well, if I just wait a little bit longer, it's kind of like the same song and dance.
I wonder if there's an opportunity there. If we can, as professionals, put our finger on what it is. Is it fear or is it a desire? Because I had somebody the other day, they were like, hey, Jeremy, when are interest rates going to be 2.5% again? I said, never, not in our lifetime. That was a once a 40-year occurrence. Forget it. But I wonder if like maybe on some level people are still like holding out for that. And if we can put our
They
finger on
are.
that as real estate professionals, there might be an opportunity for education and a way and of course if you position yourself as that expert in bringing value and bringing education, well, you know what follows behind that. You're going to close a deal or two or four.
Are you
Mhm.
asking the right questions? Why do you ask about the rate? Is that something that's important to you more? Or is it the bedrooms and square footage and the flexibility of where you need to be? Dig down into what's actually the issue. Why are they asking these questions? Have them talk to you. Sometimes we kind of like spill everything. It's going to be this much and it's going to be da, 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 da. We tend to scare them, and I'm at fault too. We over talk and overexpose when maybe it wasn't the moment to say
Yeah,
that.
that's a great way to do it. You got to discover and ask those right questions. A local legend of an instructor, Micah Johnson, she uses the phrase word vomit. or and I even tell agents all the time, stop vomiting on people. I hope that you received value from this. This is going to be something that we do regularly, once a month, the third Thursday at 10 a.m. I have a geofarming class. I also have classes on time management. I have a lot of other just little different things that I like to teach. Is that something that anybody might be interested in attending?
Yes.
Okay, some head nods. Okay, cool. Just as a full just disclosure, I guess these are not CE classes. These are their little, like, I will call them little mini classes or whatever. We do have some CE classes that we teach, and we might talk about opportunity to attend some of those classes. But what I'm talking about right now is just maybe just doing, a quick little, call it a flash class, maybe, and it's something that we can do in an hour, maybe on the first Thursday potentially of every month. We might consider that.
I've always attended your agent success rallies. I really think that that's something that you should push as hard as you push us to prospect for like clients and stuff. I think your calling is educating. I value, like you already saw, what it was able to do for what you were able to do for me. Jeremy gives good information and it works if you do it. So I do think that that's your gift. I think that's your talent. No questions
Well,
asked, you're going to
thank you
ask
so
success.
much. And I have to also like acknowledge Brittany. A lot of times I'm in front of the curtain, but there is a dark matter that is moving so much power behind the scenes, and that force is Brittany. Thank you all so much for coming again. I hope you got value out of this, and you all have a wonderful day.